In this recap video, we will be looking at Carlos Yulo, double gold medals. Marcos, magtataas ng sweldo. Harry Roque, ilog, at marami pang iba. Comes for me, this is for Joseph and welcome to the time for the recap weekly edition number 63. We've done some coverage since last week, so skip to the tasks provided if it piques your interest. Get to Katana for places like this summation. Here is a PhD's commentary for your convenience. Carlos Yulo, 2 gintong Olympics. Mga Pinoy, hindi pang basketball lang. Nasungkit ng ating kampyong si Carlos Yulo ang hindi isa, kundi 2 gintong Olympic medal sa larangan ng gymnastics. Pero sure, let's fund basketball court construction on every barangay. 'Di ba? Like, ang daming like every barangay must have either a covered or uncovered or open covered court or basketball court, basta anything that has to do with basketball and all that stuff. Ayun yung national sport natin. A neo-colonial, not even neo, an old style and of course some part neo-colonial mentality of peak athleticism, setting ourselves up for failure. Kasi, ayun, hindi tayo matatangkad. Nakakuha siya ng gold medal sa men's gymnastics floor exercise with a score of 15 points at men's vault artistic gymnastics with a score of 15.116 points, 0.15 points higher or ahead of the silver medalist. A pretty large gap. Ito ang tatandaan mo, Kaloy. 99.999999913% of the Filipino people are proud of you. Siguro, wag mo na lang intindihin yung isang tao na vocal sa, pagkainis or basta, whatever. Pero dapat, dead ma sa bashers, lalo na sa mga nagsasabing mas magaling pa rin daw ang Japan. Na hindi ako drama YouTuber, so I don't feel like it is my place to give my 2 cents about most things, especially this kind of familial animosity between the mother and our two-time gold medal Olympiad. So, I just don't want to pile up on this kind of issue that could just have been or should have just been a private matter. Now, of course, I don't have the entire story, but I understand your mother, her concerns dahil nga, because gymnastics is not a sport supported by the Filipino people or at least by the Filipino populace and of course its government. What they want to enshrine in our children's mind, I guess, the peak of athleticism would be scoring a 3-point goal or 3-point. As you can see, I'm not a person that should be consulted or even talk about this kind of stuff. It's just weird for me. Pero yun na nga, gymnastics is not a sport supported by the Filipino populace. She's just trying to look out for you. And I also get where you're coming from. Now, of course, mahilig ang mga kapandakang Pilipino sa basketball and instead of playing through our strengths, binubuhos natin ang resources natin even from the barangay level for basketball. Puro tayo basketball courts. Hindi natin nililinang yung mga sports na magiging accessible sa pangkalahatan. The colonial mentality rings true. Kaya, from everything that has been going, you cannot blame your mother for only pushing you to the right decision or at least what she see as the right decision dahil pahapyaw ang suporta sa ating mga maliliit for people na nag-excel sa mga sports. Of course, excluding basketball because, yun lang yung ating national sport as I have said earlier. But of course, this doesn't really mean that I'm not saying that there are no support. It's just that the support is of course very lackluster. Case in point, Wesley Saw, a phenomenal top 10 chess grandmaster na nakikipagsabayan ngayon sa mga magagaling o pinakamagaling na chess legends in history. Ngunit hindi siya naglalaro under the bandera of the Philippines, rather bandera ng Estados Unidos. I think it was 10 to 12 years ago na he migrated to the United States because of course he wanted to have some real challenge and he had been playing for the Philippines for the flag of the Philippines for such a long time that he had been kind of irated, I guess, na of course hindi siya or hindi siya mag-grow palalo kung sa Pilipinas lang siya magana. So he resolved into migrating to the United States. And you might think, why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. Dahil hindi kinaya at hindi masuportahan ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas ang kanyang angking galing at talento sa larangan ng chess.
Can you tell me a little bit about your chess upbringing?
Yeah, for sure. So I was born in the Philippines and I learned chess at around 6 or 7 years old. My father taught me and my sister the moves because he just bought an extra board at the market. And, it was my goal to beat him and I managed to do so. And I started playing my neighbors. And in in the Philippines, chess is a popular pastime sport. Many people know how to play, not professionally, but I just thoroughly enjoy the game. My favorite subject in school was math, and chess is my favorite sport. I started reading books and I started joining weekend tournaments, and then I won the under 10 age group in the Philippines in 2003 and started representing my country in international competitions. And my rating went pretty quickly after that. In 2004, I reached 2160. In 2005, 2200. And in 2006, I reached almost 2500. So my progress has been pretty fast. And then in 2012, when I was 17, I decided to accept a chess scholarship here in St. Louis, Missouri. I was number 100 in the world, and I practiced, as a bonus, I practiced in the university with a lot of different grandmasters from different countries, and that tremendously helped my
And the rest is
progress.
history, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And then I became professional in 2014 thanks to the help of my family. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting growing up in the Philippines because the players there rely more on intuition than book. I mean, American kids rely on encyclopedic knowledge, but in the Philippines it's more intuition. And I believe chess in the Philippines was better 10, 15 years ago than what it is now. They don't really have any support for athletes right now or for a long time. So it was good that I switched, but also interesting growing up there.
Because we're more concerned kung sinong basketball player sa NBA ang may 0.0000001% na dugong Pinoy. And if we found one, do you know what that means? Uy, Philippines, oh, Philippines, ang galing Philippines. Woo! Wait, bitch. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, how? We urge the Philippine government na tigilan na natin yung ganitong obsession, yung promotion from the grassroots level ng basketball. We won't be able to compete at the highest level because the talent at resources would be mismatched with our stature. Invest in other sports, yung mga covered courts nating pang basketball or even volleyball. Let's try football, gymnastics, swimming, esports, at marami pang iba. But that's something that doesn't necessarily need a player to have a taller stature for more inclusiveness and of course, more potential for greatness. Kasi again, the thing that limits us all is our physical characteristics that we cannot change. Let's make community sports more inclusive, not just for some genetic outliers. Play to our strengths. Let's not rely on the outliers to bring glory sa ating bansa and to excel in the sport na suportado ng mga Pilipino. It's a chicken and egg situation, a catch-22. Hindi natin alam kung paano nag-umpisa, but it definitely has something to do with colonial mentality at worship of the foreigners. Nag-invest ang ating mga lokal na pamahalaan, paaralan sa mga stadiums and courts that favor the genetic outlier. We made this so for ourselves. We cannot blame anyone but ourselves. But we can and we need to take back ang ating tunay na potensyal sa ibang sports. Let's visit basketball at another time. Invest more in other sports. Let's give everyone a reasonable chance and opportunity to discover our strengths and talents. And maybe, just maybe, it won't be such a big deal anymore that we had gotten gold medals. Rather, how many gold medals we got. How many of our exceptional athletes stand out to the world stage. Dahil sila ang refleksyon ng ating best of the best of the best. The cream of the crop. The one chosen among many. Sports is where meritocracy almost always shall shine. Pero of course, not discounting yung privilege, yung investment, at genetic inconsistencies from the populace. Matagal na nating sinasabi to, yung hinaing ng tao. Malakolonyal na pag-iisip yung ating obsession sa basketball only for the tall and white noon. Especially when the NBA was just starting. The blunt reality is that the Filipino people should start and invest in other things that would be a shot to the moon. That we shouldn't really do that kind of stuff kasi masyado tayong optimistic in some sense, pero that's neither here nor there. Let's first build our foundations in things that we can realistically excel at and somewhere most of us can realistically join. Kailangan inclusive yung ating mga sports na binibigyan ng pansin. Excel and participate at na hindi ma-discourage from things that we cannot change from the start. The funny thing here is, hindi ko sinasabing porket maliit ka ay hindi ka na pwedeng maging magaling sa basketball. I mean, there are some people that are like 5'6" who and has been thriving. But the problem of the matter here is that it is an outlier and we do not have the genetic capability. The shortest person in the NBA and the average person, or at least average person's height in the Philippines, has a 2-inch, I think, 2 to 3-inch height gap. So as you can see, that this shouldn't really be our forte. This shouldn't really be the investment that we need to push forward. Invest in other things. Invest in other sports that are realistically inclusive to all Filipino people so that, almost everyone can have a shot at the dream, at the meritocratic game of sports. Why shall we instill sa ating mga kababayan na the peak of athleticism is scoring a three-pointer or dunking in basketball when we couldn't even reach for the backboard for the most part at with shorter stature, mas mababa yung ating overall vertical. So, why are we setting ourselves up for failure? Umpisa natin sa mga may realistic na goal bago tayo mag-invest sa sport to the point na almost every barangay in the Philippines has an open or covered court specifically used and encouraged to be used for basketball. And we are actually seeing a more acceptable one in the face of volleyball, pero that's besides the point. I mean, you can retrofit it so that, or you don't even need to retrofit it because the basketball courts in the Philippines actually accommodate for volleyball and tennis, but that's almost everything. Yeah, that's almost everything. So, whatever, right? And of course, I don't mean to belittle Filipino people because we're already a little bit little, so that doesn't really make sense. And I am also a short guy. As you can see, I'm a short king, as they say, a backhanded phrase for people who are vertically challenged, as they say. Pero whatever, right? Play to our strengths. Ito ang dapat na sa una pa lang ay ating napagtanto na. Mag-invest sa sport that doesn't require you to be 6 foot tall and up to be globally competitive. Or not even globally competitive, just nationally competitive. We're setting ourselves up for failure if we kid ourselves na makamasa ang ganitong sport na, as I said earlier, the average Filipino height would be around 7 to 10 inches shorter than what is needed to be at most regionally competitive. Kasi yung mga 6-footer, hindi rin naman sila ganoon kataas kung ikukumpara natin sa mga peak athletes. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't use it for leisure, but the fact of the matter is, if we are trying to kind of have some sort of wake-up call, wag na sana natin i-depress palalo. Wag na natin i-set up for failure yung ating kabataan just because the colonial masters that we once had, the ones that ruled the Philippines for 33 years. And we're basically instilling sa utak ng mga maraming kabataan Pinoy and of course, to many people na, masyado ka maliit. That you're not enough. ang inferiority complex natin would be firing up dahil we set up basketball as, again, peak athleticism. Kapag nag-join ka ng sepak takraw or whatever kind of sport other than basketball, kapag nag-volleyball ka, they will see you as a feminine guy. And that's kind of the stigma that we should take out. And of course, we instill it in every kid, in every Filipino people. We are setting themselves up for failure. Talagang nakakatakot, and of course, para tayong magkakaroon palalo or mai-instill palalo yung ating inferiority complex. Expectations that are too high, especially to our boys. With the full meritocratic, anything is possible if you put your mind to it, jiggling. Okay, that doesn't really make sense. If I put my mind into, being 6 foot tall, I would need money for that. Just so that I could go to fucking Las Vegas and, have some surgery to lengthen my limbs. Don't kid ourselves. Don't be a delulu. Let's not let our optimism blind us to reality. Our optimism, our resilience, our hard work. We think for ourselves. We thought na, of course, as long as you work hard. The evangelical work ethic or something, I don't fucking know, pero yun na nga, di ba? Parang napaka-weird that we kid ourselves, that we let the optimism, the resilience, the hard work, and ideals blind us to reality. And that's just sad for many Filipino people, especially to our boys, na sinasabi nila na nai-instill sa kanila pag-iisip na you're short, you're not enough, that you need to be higher, you need to be taller than what is typical on your age and on your ethnicity. Di ba? That's sad. Pero who am I? Maybe I'm just salty to the fact na I'm a fucking short guy. I'm like Michael Reeves, but dumber. Who am I to be the spokesperson for Filipino people nationwide, diba? Unless, vote for me in, I don't know when I would be running for the presidency of the Philippines, but basta, just vote for me. Just so that I can say na I represent the people, or at least, kapag tumakbo ako sa isang local position, local or national position, just vote for me. I don't know when and whether I would even achieve that goal, pero it would be fun. I have lots of ideas to kind of bounce off of the Filipino people. But anyway, now, ang dami ko lang sinabi. But anyway, back to our two-time gold medalist Olympian Carlos Edriel Pogi Yulo. Ano nga ba ang makukuha niya para sa kanyang pagkakapanalo ng 2 gintong medalya sa prestihiyosong patimpalak as he showcased the potential of our 5 feet short kings? A backhanded compliment that just cannot go away. A lot of brands have given him promised incentives, properties, gifts in the multi-million magnitude, including a tax-exempt 10 million peso cash incentive for, or at least from, the Philippine Sports Commission. Meron ding 6 million peso cash incentive na ibibigay ng House of Representatives. Corporations, including Mega World, promised a fully furnished 3-bedroom condominium in McKinley Hill worth around 32 million pesos plus 3 million peso cash incentive, with taxes being burdened sa gifter rather than the recipient, which means tax incentive yung kanyang mga binibigay sa kanyang prize. Nag-pledge rin daw ang Bounty Fresh of 3 million pesos or 3 million pesos, SM Group with 1 million pesos of SM retail products, Apollo Home Depot giving 100,000 pesos in cash, along with restaurants and food chains offering lifetime free food. And I'm sure after I shoot this video, there would be many more to come. But before we invest our everything to the sports department and try to diversify everything para sa lahat ng sports, just so that we could see what sticks in the wall, maybe focus ourselves din sa social welfare so that maybe soon our kids could grow tall too. Kasi again, I think it is a funny thing na for 14 years since the Conservative Party has been reigning over the UK, lumiit yung mga British kids. Dahil, of course, the austerity measures that they have put in kind of slow down or even shrink their kids, the generational kids that was born and was living under the Tory leadership. Of course, we need to, other than social welfare, invest in education, and that's the main thing. We should invest in education. Para ibang Olympic naman ang ating tutukan, hindi lang yung sports. Of course, I'm not saying na, I misspoke by saying lang, pero you know what I meant. Para ibang Olympic naman ang ating tulukuyan or tututukan, hindi lang ang sports. Yung mga math, science Olympiad, competition rin yan. And we need people who represent us and the best of us to win gold medals. Kasi yun dapat ang ating sineselebrate. For before we celebrate this victory in sports. Kasi again, to excel and invest in sports is a leisure that a country can only afford to spend on when the base necessities is laid out and provided for. Kumbaga, saying na we should first invest in education. We should invest in social welfare, in basic necessities, or making lives affordable or making our wages livable for the majority or even for 100% of Filipino people. Hindi lang dapat tayo nag-invest sa sports or when we have children that are at the bottom ranks of PISA rankings, of educational institution testing settings. Because that's just weird. Dapat ang sports natin would be an extracurricular thing lang. And of course, I'm not saying na it should be only extracurricular because there's some people that do deserve to not even go to school, just freaking focus themselves on sports. Pero that's a long way to come, and we don't have that kind of talent just yet. What we need to do is, as a broader and more inclusive and of course democratic na pag-invest sa ating mga tao, hindi lang dapat sa sports, hindi naman porket sinasabi ko that I've given this long monologue. I'm not saying that we should only invest sa iba pang mga sports at hindi lang sa basketball. We should also invest, and we should focus ourselves on education first before anything else. Again, to excel and invest in sports is a leisure that a country can only afford to spend on when the base necessities is laid and provided for, accounted for. Olympic medals doesn't bring money to the Philippines. Yung return of investment natin wouldn't really have some sort of tangible impact sa ating mga Pilipino. At least in the long, and let me guess, I'll say it, even short term. It's just weird for us to focus ourselves on sports when it doesn't really have an ROI for us. I'm not saying that this sports is undeserving of this kind of talent and that it's unprofitable for sports to be the one where we will invest. Of course, there are entertainment industries, there are entertainment agencies that would say otherwise. But all I'm saying is, in the broader horizon, in the national scale, there isn't really much ROI for winning a gold medal. It's just a gold medal. I mean, sure, it shows na Philippines, uy, Philippines, oh, Philippines. But doesn't really change the fact na it doesn't really change anything for that matter. But I don't want to be a sports hater just because I don't enjoy it. But it's just weird for us to do this kind of stuff. Harry Roque, bawal lumipad. Inilagay ng Department of Justice si dating presidential spokesperson, senatorial aspirant noong 2022, Attorney Harry Roque, sa isang immigration lookout bulletin kasama ang 11 pang individual involving the Philippine Offshore Gaming Operator Hub na ni-raid sa Pampanga ng Lucky South 99 Corporation. Among the people who was put into the immigration lookout bulletin are a bunch of Chinese last names with connection to the Pogo Hub registered under the Lucky South 99 Corporation. Now, hindi naman ibig sabihin na inilagay ka sa isang immigration lookout bulletin order, mawawalan ka na ng right to travel or leave the country. It only serves as an order to look out sa mga posibleng umalis ng bansa maliciously. They're only there to be monitored kung saan sila pupunta. That doesn't really mean na bawal ka nang lumabas. Sinabi naman ni Attorney Harry Roque na ang inilabas na immigration lookout bulletin order is plain harassment. Political harassment, katulad ng sinasabi ni VP Sara Duterte nung tinanggalan siya ng 75 PNP security personnel at naiwanan lang siya ng kulang-kulang 300, sobra pa nga. sobra pa sa 350 security personnel. So, kawawa naman siya, di ba? Never mind the fact na mas marami pa siya security personnel than the president himself. Pero, that's political harassment and all that jazz, di ba? Sinabi naman ni Attorney Harry Roque, again, this is plain harassment. Yung immigration or ILBO, did I say ILB? ILB kanina? Sinasabi niyang witch hunt para sa mga kritiko ng gobyerno and to silence dissidents ng Administrasyong Marcos, especially since he is aligned with his dating presidente, Rodrigo Duterte, of which he was the presidential spokesperson. At least now, he knows what it feels like to be oppressed by the government over holding unconventional political views, di ba? Especially if you think you're fighting for what is right. I mean, kawawa si Laila de Lima for 6 or even 7 years yata. Nakulong siya on trumped-up charges, pero as we all know, good always wins. The truth shall set us free, and the truth set her free noong last month ng yata. So again, you'll see, or at least you have now experienced what she has been enduring for 6 to 7 years. He's saying na he is not connected with Lucky South 99. Ang kanyang kliyente na si Cassandra Ong, which is the agent that registered Lucky South 99. Sinasabi niyang lawyer-client privilege shall only be isolated to him and Cassandra Ong, even if he kind of followed up to the PAGCOR, pumunta pa siya sa PAGCOR to follow up dun sa pag-register sa Lucky South 99. That he is only beholden to Cassandra Ong, that he is only a lawyer to Cassandra Ong. Of course, many people dispute that, especially the committee heads that is investigating this.
Hindi ko po kakilala itong dalawang tao. Inaamin ko po that I have an interest in the corporation that owns the house.
With this development, sir, we will include former spokesperson Harry Roque in our investigation.
Ano ba itong Immigration Lookout Bulletin? Ibig sabihin nito, pag ikaw ay tatangkang umalis ng Pilipinas, magbibigay alam sa mga kinakakulan at sa mga otoridad. Dahil daw, ako daw ay isa sa mga persons of interest na iniimbestigahan pagdating sa Lucky South. Well, alam niyo po, tingin ko po ito ay isang persecution, isang panunupil. Dahil ako po ay napaka-ingay na kritiko ng gobyerno na humihingi ng kasagutan kay Presidente sa katanungang, adik ka ba? Dahil unang-una, si Presidente Duterte nagsabi, may kilala akong kandidato para Presidente noong ako'y mayor sa Davao na nagpupunta ng Davao at gumagamit ng pinagbabawal na gamot. Pagkatapos, nung maisog rally na last January sa Davao, sinabi na niya, yan ay ang ating Presidenteng Bongbong Marcos Jr. Matapos yan, nandyan si Agent Morales.
Ngayon na may iniimbitahan si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, kanyang advisor at Senator Bato de la Rosa para makapagpanayam ukol sa mga illegal na Pogo Hub, considering under Duterte na payagan ang mga Pogo na mag-operate sa ating bansa, which apparently made it possible for them to be fronts sa mga financial, love, and all kinds of scams, along with human trafficking, torture, and illegal detention, among many things, dahil sa kanyang executive order. Now, I don't think makakagawa ako nung katulad ng ginawa ko with Alex Lialgoa, that saga covering everything that has happened with Harry Roque, because it ain't really that much of a glamorous thing and it's not as viral, it won't be as viral. But if marami pang info na mailabas, then why not? Masyado pang maaga for a recap, that just like what I did para kay Alex Lialgoa. Just these would be enough for now.
I agree with the president. I will kick out Pogo in this country. Pogo is a money laundering operation. It was ill-advised. They did not study it well. My God, Pogo was banned by Cambodia, banned by many countries in Central Asia, and we adopted it here. And why is it that until now, you have Pogos in Banban and Porac, and without PAGCOR being able to control them? Is that a wise decision, wise activity?
Do you believe that Executive Order number 13 that was issued by the former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was a mistake?
Yes po.
Okay. Because all the powers was transferred to PAGCOR.
Yes po.
Here are some more PH news for your convenience. Mindanao and Visayas, 6.8 magnitude earthquake. Niyanig ng 6.8 magnitude earthquake, how do I say that? Magnitude earthquake. Nalindol ang ilang mga probinsya sa Visayas at Mindanao noong kinaumagahan ng August 3 na nag-cause ng massive panic at mass evacuation dahil sa lakas ng pagyanig. Ang epicenter ng nasabing lindol noong August 3 ay nasa 20 kilometro from the town of Barcelona, Lingig, Surigao del Sur at may lalim na 9 kilometro ayon sa Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Volcanology and Seismology o DOST PHIVOLCS. Marcos, nagtaas ng sahod. Idinakda ni President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang Executive Order No. 64 na magbibigay sa mga civilian government employees ng ekotibo, legislatura, judikatura, mga constitutional commissions at marami pang iba. Ang unang tranche ng panibagong salary increase ay magsisimula retroactively on January 1, 2024. So marami tayong back pay, I guess. Back pay ba tawag doon? Basta, with a total of 4 tranches that will incur salary increase every 1st of January until 2027. So that's 4 tranches of salary increase on the government workers and of course government wage employees. A sweeping and relatively good news para sa ating mga sibilyang manggagawa na ine-employ ng ating gobyerno. However, para sa mga LGUs at mga manggagawa nilang hindi kakayanin base sa kanilang classification ay maaaring hindi mo na ibuo yung bagong rates na ipinapatupad ng gobyerno. This also includes selected qualified government employees to get a medical allowance of around 7,000 pesos. Basically, a small bump sa mga sahod ng mga magagawa, so just check the salary grade table for the incoming tranches. Of course, it's all incremental just like most minimum wage hikes sa ating gobyerno, especially kapag nasa TPRBs or tripartite regional basta yun, TPRB, regulatory board, wage regulatory board. I don't know the acronym, pero yun nga. Pero at least, sa gobyerno in full, so hindi lang minimum wage earners ang makikinabang. This comes after the July minimum wage increase din sa NCR na tumataginting ng 35 pesos para sa mga empleyado ng pribadong sektor. You can watch my NIDW recap para dyan along with the hinaing at mga statistics at rationalizations. I think it has something to do with that noong 35 peso increase. And of course, we are kind of fighting for the 100 peso increase na nakabinbing ngayon sa House of Representatives because naipasa na ito ng Senado. And of course, many people are still calling for the livable minimum wage of around 1,200 per person para sa isang pamilya. Okay, so this is a short one, pero I am so optimistic that Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, has picked Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, a pretty progressive and of course a lovable person just from the vibes alone. A Midwestern dad, as they like to call it, a Midwestern princess. Kasi talagang I feel hope for the first time na Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz against her fight kay Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and he is the most, or at least she picked like the perfect candidate. She picked like the perfect candidate because he's charismatic, he's a people person, and he's a low-key kind of guy na hindi mo iisipin na merong intensyon na maging president or even just vice president. Talagang I am so happy that Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz as the presumptive vice presidential nominee. So that's kind of a heartwarming thing that I have been kind of buzzing around for the past few days. So, I'm hopeful para sa future ng United States of America. And, they're popular too. At yan ang pagtatapos ng News and Worthy Recap Weekly Edition for roughly the first week of August 2024. Mag-switch sa more topics and our questions to balitas if you feel I misrepresented them in any way. Salamat sa panonood mga kabang. For me, like, subscribe, and follow my links in socials to the for Joseph that would be linked down below. So susunod na of course, paalam. Pshh!
you.